Anachnu lach. Becca may have added Ezzy to her name, to her list of words, so that's it sounded like Ezzy or Daddy. It's a little hard to tell, but we're going to go with Ezzy. So for new words, we say Modim Anachnu lach. For all these gifts, we thank you and we sing your praises and we say Amen. And then shifting gears a little bit, because there's been something that's been irking me lately, been bothering me, and it's just that, especially online, there's so much negativity, there's so much critique online, right? That and it's really easy to just say, oh, that's wrong, or that's a problem, or whatever it might be. And often it's justified, but often I'm finding it's lacking that next step. Okay, well, what do we do about it? Even just this week, there's the tragedy of the submersible, and I don't know if you kept seeing, but and maybe you posted, and I'm not trying to call you out, but there's so many people who say, well, what about the submersible is bad, but what about all the migrants, right? And it's true, it's a true statement, and also, okay, well, yes, we're pointing out a problem, but then what are we doing about it? It's a fair critique, but what do we do? We have politicians, right, who can consistently condemn the other side, but do they offer practical solutions in return? Or, there's the person who, if there's one mistake on a document, in a system, in a relationship, then the whole thing is ruined, or we're going to call out that one thing instead of looking at it holistically or trying to fix or trying to support. I find it happens especially online. And again, lifting up causes is actually really important. If that's all that we have the bandwidth for, sometimes that's all we can do. But if that's all we're doing over and over and over again, well, then what? What do we do? How can we do something perhaps more meaningful? And that's something that we see in our Torah portion this week, Parshat Korach. So Korach, along with Datan and Aviram, they lead this rebellion against Moses and Aaron, against their whole authority, saying, you've gone too far, and why did we leave Egypt, and all of these things. And they bring at least 250 people with them against Moses and Aaron. And, well, God doesn't like it. Moses doesn't, none of them like it. And so the earth swallows them whole, and then a fire comes down and kills the rest. And the rebellion is, for now, squashed. But one of the questions that people consistently ask is, what exactly did Korach do wrong? Because he actually opens with, all the people are holy. And that's kind of a good point. He says, everyone's holy, so why are you in charge? And yeah, we are kind of holy. So the rabbis like to break it down with, well, what actually did he do wrong? And one of the answers comes from Midrash Tanhuma, and a late antiquity Midrash, which says that Korach's issue, the problem with his confrontation with Moses, is that he did exactly what I'm describing. He tried to really pull apart Moses' system. He tried to just kind of nitpick and look at the little details, like, oh, what's wrong with that? Oh, what's wrong with that? Specifically, he says, well, okay, a talis. The Torah teaches that a talis is supposed to have one blue fringe, or one blue string in the fringes. And so Korach says, well, wait a minute, what happens if you have a whole blue talis? Do you still need the blue fringe? Gotcha. That's his thing. He's trying to do gotcha statements. He also says, imagine there's a room full of Torahs. Well, this Torah has the text that's found in the mezuzah. So would you need a mezuzah on the door if you have a room full of Torahs? Oh, gotcha, Moses, right? He's trying to really just say, oh, look, there are flaws. There are loopholes. So we got to burn the whole thing down. Rabbi Stephen Weiland of Congregation Knesset Israel teaches that by asking such questions, Korach demonstrated the inconsistencies that lay every religion open to the accusation of hypocrisy. Korach made the Torah of Moses seem ridiculous in the eyes of his followers. Every system has its flaws, its inconsistencies, but that does not make the whole thing bad. But to Korach it did. So then Rabbi Weiland elaborates, when I was growing up, we Reformed Jews often ridiculed orthodoxy by pointing to some of the absurd consequences of halakha, of Jewish law. One cannot shave the beard, but can use nair. One cannot bathe on Shabbat, lest one wring out the towel, and so on and so forth. Now, I, as a liberal Jew, generally actually agree with this critique, with this sentiment. But if I only critiqued orthodoxy, if I only said, oh, that's what I don't believe, if I didn't know what I as a liberal rabbi stood for, then I think I would not be a very good rabbi. Korach is one of these complainers. He only looks at the bad. He only critiques. He only points out what the media does wrong and not really what we need to do right or even how we can fix the system. One mistake and it's all ruined. As Rabbi Weiland continues, it is easy to mock. It is more difficult to devote oneself to a religious path. The big question is not what do I reject, but rather what can I affirm with integrity? What can I affirm with integrity? He's asking us, what do we believe? What do we stand for? How can we achieve it? It's great to raise awareness, to share that story, but then what? If that's all we're doing, is it enough? One of the great examples that I'm proud of here at BJC that I've shared many times is that we've said, and we have been pro-LGBTQ individuals in the past. And now we're taking that one step further with our Keshet Shivyon cohort to really dig in and embrace and do better. How can each of us in our own lives do this affirmation? How can we figure out what we believe and then take concrete steps to achieve it? Now, there are many ways to get there. We can journal, we could write things down, you could discuss with your family. What do we believe in? Come up with some achievable goals, take concrete steps. And by doing this, we won't just live this life of negativity, of critique, but of positivity, of value, of meaning, and of purpose. It's very easy to critique, especially on the internet, but it is not so easy to affirm. So let us do what is hard and affirm what we believe, to say proudly, this is what I believe, these are my values, and then may we live lives that lift them up. Amen. We take a moment to reflect on these words. And now we can continue with our concluding prayers beginning on page 282. Page 2.